the cool and exciting and good news, unlike my usual beat, is that two-sided solar panels that can track with the sun will produce more energy. And the nice thing is that the boost is going to be, well, right now they're trying to improve the overall energy collection, but we're talking about a 35% increase in more energy and reduce the average cost of electricity by 16%, which, as we all know, that's helpful for us. So, now, I personally am not big on solar panels, so I'm going to actually ask.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't have any. I've never had to install them. I've only had to photograph them. I'm going to ask that.
Yeah, so I've got solar panels on my roof, and you can't really do tracking when you have roof mounts, but if you, like we had Tom Bodette on the show, and he had a large array out in the field, that'd be the perfect spot for this where you can track. And he actually said that he had talked to his installer about that, and they were able to, if you have tracking, then that's just one more thing that could break, and it gets you an extra, just tracking alone 10 or 15%. So if you can afford it, if you could just install 10 or 15% more if you have the room, then you don't have to deal with the tracking. But in general, anything like this that makes it more efficient, that brings down the cost, that gives you more bang for your buck, is worth it. If he didn't have the room to install 10 or 15% more, he could have done tracking instead. And this idea of having two-sided and having some reflective property behind it, that's relatively cheap to add. And then the photons pass through twice, and you increase your efficiency. So all these kinds of little things are going to help we've seen the cost of solar over the last 15 years drop dramatically. It's been incredible how much it's dropped. And it's because of innovations like this that we're getting more efficient panels. And I'm just glad to see this keep marching forward.
I think
I got 2 words.
What? Give us your 2 words.
Flat roofs. I just can't say that enough. We have more than enough flat roofs in the United States and in the world to supply magnitudes more energy than we need.
We do.
That's true. It's getting it to everybody's hands. That's the problem.
But like you said about the price decrease, I was able to put 2/3 more panels on my house in South Carolina than it came with for the same price as the original array because of the way it's been going down.
How many years between that, Casey?
2.
What?
Yes.
That's
impressive.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 2 years.
Just dropped that much. Wow.
Yeah, we installed our original ones in 2011, and then we got more in 2015. And in that time, we installed twice as many panels at half the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, we went from 4 kilowatt to 12 total.
Well, and you probably got higher kilowatt panels too, right?
Yes.
Probably 30% higher panels from like 200, I'm guessing, to 300.
Right. Yeah, they were slightly bigger and more efficient.
Yeah. My first ones were 280s, and my second ones were 310s.
I like the numbers though for the combination of double-sided panels and dual axis tracking. But my question that they couldn't answer: how within reach is it comparatively from the single tracking to dual tracking? Because I think that's what's going to decide for consumers whether or not they're going to go for the full double. I don't
just like Tom Bodette though is unless you're space constrained, your installer is probably going to steer you away from tracking because of the maintenance and the failure rate, and it's just another thing in there, and they consume power to actually move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they more than make up for it, but like you said, especially most people are just going to install it on their roof, and then tracking's not an option. And hopefully you have a south-facing roof, and that's great. But if you don't, you can still do east and west.
That's what I've got.
That's what I have too. Yeah, and it works great. Yep. In fact, you get more power in the morning and more in the evening if you have it on both sides, and that helps level out the duct curve.
It does. Yeah, so I was able to run 2 electric cars, the Volt and the S, and then when I swapped them out, I was able to run the Model X with a healthy commute and still have a negative balance. And just last month, my folks were running. They wiped out their gas bill for the water heater in the furnace with solar power. It's just phenomenal. And then the neighbors are running green because they're overproducing.
Right. Yeah. When you're overproducing, you're actually powering your neighbors' homes because it's not like it goes all the way back to some central distribution station. It just follows the path of least resistance. It's turning your meter backwards and theirs forward.
Yep.
So would these solar arrays be more municipal utility for big solar farm?
I think they would probably work best
Probably,
there.
yeah.
Or a small site.
It's really, it's for larger installations, industrial installations, municipal installations, that kind of thing, where you start to see stuff with heavy tracking and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For now, that technology isn't going to super impact the home solar thing, but anything that makes that heavier, that larger use scenario cheaper, more attractive is a very good thing, because obviously that's a huge source of that sucks up energy. Factories,
right.
cities.
So one of the offices back in Alberta, they have two sets of solar panels, right? One of them at an angle for the summer, and one of them mounted vertically for the winter. So if they had these double-sided panels, the vertically mounted ones, right, can gain a little bit more of that weak winter sun. Because then,
Yeah, the
it can
farther
bounce
north
off
you
that.
are, the better tracking would perform. Would it be more necessary? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have tracking. They just mounted two separate ones. Like they have a set of angled ones for the summer and vertical ones for winter. I mean, of course, they all work year
Right.
round. It's just at different efficiency rates. But yeah, the double-sided ones would work well for, especially the vertical mounted ones, right? Because there's just a concrete wall behind it.